Hello, happy Monday. Earlier this year I uploaded a video called "Why are YouTubers writing books?" after it was announced that some popular YouTubers had been given book deals and their books would be published later this year. It's now later this year and people have started clicking on my video again and been commenting on it and getting that discussion going again. And I feel like because some of those books have been released, I need to jump back into that discussion. In particular, I want to talk about Zoella, Zoe Sugg. She released her first book, I think it was 2 weeks ago. The book is called Girl Online. It's a fiction book aimed at 12 to 16-year-olds, and it's the first in a 2-book deal that she has with Penguin. In its first week, this book sold 78,000 copies, breaking all sorts of records. And then yesterday, in a piece by the Sunday Times, it was revealed that they had talked to her publisher, and the publisher had said that they could not confirm that all of the book was entirely written by Zoe herself, meaning that some of it, if not all of it, was ghostwritten. In case you don't know, when you write a book and you finish it, the book then goes to an editor. Editors edit books. They make them better, they make them coherent, they make the plot make sense, they clear up any little inconsistencies. A ghostwriter, on the other hand, is a professional writer who gets paid to write books but not take credit for them. That sounds a bit strange, I know what you're thinking. However, they sign contracts, they sign a contract that says that you're getting paid, you write this, but you don't seek credit. That's how it works. Lots of popular books have been ghostwritten, and I'll get back to that later. So lots of people had suspected that Zoe's book was ghostwritten simply because the turnaround for a 350-page novel was so fast. It just appeared on shelves so quickly, and she documents a lot of her life. She's been really busy over the summer with like a beauty product range, and so people realized that there is no way she had time to write a book, because writing books takes a really long time, especially if you haven't done it before. But now that it's been confirmed that the book was ghostwritten, or at least partially ghostwritten, people cannot stop talking about it. And so I wanted to make this video. Firstly, I want to make this video for people who are annoyed at Zoe for getting a book deal in the first place. I want to make this video for people who are annoyed that she used a ghostwriter. And I want to make this video for people who are annoyed at the people who are annoyed because you think that you should just live and let live and let people do what they want. If you fall into one of these categories, or if like me, you haven't read the book, you don't watch Zoe's videos, you just find all of this very interesting, then I think you need to ask yourself, what do you value? First of all, we need to think about what we value in terms of writing. Do we see Zoe's book purely as entertainment, like some sort of pre-teen equivalent to a Jackie Collins novel? I think we're all aware that there's a literary canon, and that canon consists of books that scholars have deemed the best books, and they go in the canon, and there's some people who will only read within the canon, there are some people who will only read outside it, and there's some people who don't really know about it, they just read because they love reading and they'll read anything. In terms of books for children and young adults, there isn't that same sort of elevation, I guess. You know, we knew that Zoe Sugg wasn't going to be nominated for a Man Booker Prize, and people are arguing that reading in itself is the valuable thing, and we should just be glad that 12 to 16-year-olds and the people outside of that age group who are picking up Zoe's book, we should be happy that they're reading. It doesn't matter what they're reading as long as they're doing it out of choice and they're enjoying it. So should we just move on with our lives and let preteens and teenagers read what they want to read and not really worry about the quality or the content? Or should we be thinking that the ideas perpetrated in these books can actually affect people's perspectives going out into the world? I think in particular I worry about the way romance and relationships tend to unfold in young adult books, and how that can change like people's own thinking about relationships and kind of normalize behavior that shouldn't be normalized. Secondly, we need to think about the value with which we hold publishers. What do we know about them? Do we respect them? I was in the BookTube panel at Summer in the City earlier this year, and the wonderful Rosianna, channel link in the description, mentioned that if publishers, big publishers like Penguin, if they didn't pick up celebrity autobiographies and books like Zoe's that they know are going to do well in sales, if they didn't sell those books, then they couldn't afford to approach new authors and say, here's an advance on a novel. You know, they couldn't publish books from people like J.K. Rowling who'd never been heard of before. We tend to view publishers like Penguin as this sort of institution representing something brilliant about literature and kind of publishing the best of the best. But it's not like that, and the money generated, yes, does make huge profits that I'm sure go into people's pockets, but like I said, it also creates money, and that money is used for really productive things that as someone who wants to write a book one day really appreciates. The alternative would be, like some other countries have, that it's very hard to get a book published, and publishers only publish what they deem to be the best books, which means as a reader you don't have as much choice, and you're almost being told what to read, and you're being told what's good, and that's not really a good system either. Finally, we need to think about the value we place on YouTubers and the value that the entertainment industry places on YouTubers. We tend to think of YouTubers as friends, and if not friends, we definitely see them as people who are closer to us than, say, our favourite actors or singers. They really let you into their lives. There's daily vlogs from a lot of people. You really feel like a part of their life, and you know that when you tweet them, they read that tweet. And I think that personal connection is why a lot of Zoe's fans who'd bought the book felt really let down and disappointed that she hadn't chose to disclose that her book had been somewhat ghostwritten and she hadn't given credit to said ghostwriter. This video and these conversations that people are having are not a personal attack on her, because I think we have to recognise that this whole thing is a lot bigger than her as a person. Zoella is a brand, and we live in a culture that's obsessed with brands. You have to realise that the appeal of someone like Zoe to a company is that she can make them lots of money because her audience is this sort of key demographic for spending money, and that is teenage girls. So I think we kind of have to accept that this isn't really about Zoe, this isn't really about books, this is about money and making money, and money talks, money makes things happen. When a singer or a band releases an album and you buy that album, you understand that you're giving them money, you understand that they're making money because you've bought it, but you're happy to hand over your money because you feel like there's something of artistic value in that album. Let me use a literary example. James Patterson is a very famous author. He's best known for his work in the crime genre, and he sold millions upon millions upon millions of books, so many books, and his early books were written by himself. But as he became more popular, he hired a team of ghostwriters. They write the books, they help contribute to the stories, and it means that he can always have original stories, and he can keep producing books, and he can produce books more quickly, which sounds like a really weird thing to do, but we know James Patterson can write because he wrote his earlier books and probably still continues to write some of his books. I don't really know the ins and outs of it. And so when you see a book with James Patterson on it, you think this book is going to be good, this book is going to be readable. It's of a certain standard because it has his name attached to it. It's kind of like James Patterson is a brand, and when you see his name, it's like seeing the Starbucks logo and knowing that you're going to get a really nice coffee that might be slightly overpriced. Similarly, one of my favourite series of books as a child were the Animal Ark books, and their author was always cited as Lucy Daniels. It turns out Lucy Daniels was the pen name of a group of authors, mostly men I think, who all wrote various books. There were loads and loads of those books published, but you see, I didn't pick up those books because I was connected to Lucy Daniels. I picked up those books because I really liked the stories. They always followed a similar sort of arc, and Animal Ark, get it? With all that in mind, where does that leave us when Zoella produces a book? It turns out that it's ghostwritten, she doesn't disclose this information, and then it turns out that the book isn't all that good. I know, that's a very subjective statement, and I haven't read the book. However, I have read some reviews from people I trust, people who are within the sort of target age range, people who are outside it, and I don't think it's a particularly outstanding book. And so we're left wondering what it is that we're supposed to be valuing in this whole process. I would say that this isn't going to change. The backlash to this whole ghostwriting controversy isn't really going to change anything. YouTubers are continually going to be seen as brands. More money is going to be put into them. They're going to create more money. I think the most productive thing that we can do as readers and as writers is to seek out books by new authors, to ask for them in your library, to pick up books that you think you'd want to read regardless of, you know, what genre they are. Read the trashy romances, or read the books by the people who you've supported as YouTubers for 4 or 5 years and you want to support them and you don't really care that the book's not very good. If you want to buy that book and read it, then read it. We should all have the freedom to read what we want to read, but this video was filmed in the spirit of not kind of picking the side of stop being mean to Zoe, or not picking the side of what's the big deal about ghostwriters, and realising that there's a much bigger picture here and that we need to be having conversations about what that bigger picture means to us. Let me know where you think the value lies, if anywhere, and I will one day read Girl Online, I promise. I'll get round to it eventually. A new book review will be coming at you very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Farewell.